I went to school at a SUNY school upstate. Pretty small school in town, you know. One Wednesday night, two of my friends and I went into town to go to one of the popular bars for ladies' night. Usually, whenever my friends go out, we have a rule where there has to be at least 4 people, so that God forbid anything happens or someone needs to go home early, there will still be a pair of friends left to make sure the other was safe. The buddy system. This time, we figured, whatever. It was ladies' night, we'll be fine, and probably see our friends at the bar anyway. It's all good. We pre-gamed a bit too hard, I'll admit. Once we were at the bar, we were dancing, drinking, having a great time at ladies' night. Then, my one friend, we'll call her Lisa for this story, got wasted out of nowhere. She was falling over herself and couldn't stand up straight, but I didn't notice because I was off talking to some guy. The most sober of my friends, we'll call her Sally, comes up to me and says that the bouncers kicked them out and she needs to take Lisa home right away and that she's waiting outside. I refused because I wanted to hang out with this guy. Sally then gets frustrated and leaves because the bouncers are yelling at her to take care of her friend outside. Sally and Lisa run to catch the bus back to campus, which was down a long straight road from the bar we were at. Once Sally and Lisa get on the bus, she sees the guy I was talking to at the bar. She asks him what he's doing and where I am, and the guy says that I wanted to stay. Sally gets even more frustrated and scared now because she has no idea who I'm with, but she's distracted by Lisa vomiting on the very crowded, drunk bus. The entire time they're at home, Sally is taking care of Lisa and trying to help her as she's throwing up, but I'm still at the bar. Except I have no idea what the fuck I was doing. We weren't there for long before Sally and Lisa left, but I had stayed there for like 30 to 60 minutes, totally alone, but it felt like hours. This is not like me at all. I can get anxious and shy in social situations if I don't know anyone, and for the most part, I'm a pretty responsible and aware person. I have no idea who I was with, what I was drinking, what I was doing, nothing. I literally stepped back from reality, looked around at the bar, knew something was not right, and that I was in trouble, and tried to piece together what the fuck was going on. It was like I was watching from a distance, frozen, and everything else was resuming around me. I knew I was drunk, but this felt different. Everything felt so clear. It was such a different type of intoxicating feeling that made me think maybe it wasn't just alcohol in my system. I walk outside, not knowing what to do, and immediately look to my left and see a group of towny-looking guys. I go up to them, drunkenly, and I guess I asked for help, or if they knew where my friends were. I don't know what prompted me to do this, but I was drunk and out of it. The 3 guys were run down looking. One was super into me, and was way more talkative than the rest. They all looked maybe 25 to 35 years old. I had just turned 19 at the time. I remember the one that liked me saying that they'll walk me to the bus stop since it was right there. I guess in the state I was in, I didn't know how to get home, even though the bus stop was literally in eyesight. I'm at the bus stop with these guys, and I remember feeling a sudden sense of dread, anxiety, and fear wash over me. Like someone just threw water in my face, and I suddenly realized how much danger I was in. I was standing there at the bus stop, wrapping my arms around my body for warmth, not knowing what the fuck to do. From the second that I took a step back and realized what was going on in the bar too now, it felt like I was floating above my body and watching myself. I knew I was making a bad decision, and I knew I was in danger, but I could not do anything to get myself out of the situation. I couldn't walk away from them. I couldn't speak. I could not physically remove myself from what was going on. It felt like I had taken a backseat to my own destruction. I start to feel really upset and even more scared when suddenly, out of nowhere, my roommate calls me. She was asleep in our dorm at the time. She woke up in the middle of the night, saw I wasn't home yet, and said she got this overwhelming feeling that something was wrong, kinda like a mother's intuition. She texted Sally and asked if they were out with me, and Sally said no, that her and Lisa had to leave. My roommate quickly calls me frantically, and I answer, slurring my words beyond belief. The entire time I'm on the phone, the guy that liked me is leaning over and whispering in my ear saying, "Tell her you're fine. Hang up the phone. Tell her we're taking you home. We got you. You're fine. Hang up." Things like that to hurry me off the call. My roommate then asks me who I'm with. I say no one. She then says that she hears someone in the phone, and as soon as she heard a male voice say, "We're taking you home," she told me that she was coming to pick me up. I remember wanting to cry, but not being able to, still feeling frozen, telling my roommate that I didn't need her to, and that the bus was about to be here. All the while, the guys are standing there, smirking and giggling, like they got exactly what they wanted. At this point, when I hung up the phone, I kind of accepted that something really bad was about to happen to me, and I felt so upset because I couldn't help myself. I just stood there waiting with dread for whatever these guys were about to do to me. As soon as I hung up with my roommate on the phone, she grabbed our other roommates, Lisa, hopped in the car, and flew into town where the bus stop was. It was about a 5-minute drive from the campus. She called me again as the car pulled up in front of the bus stop. And I remember literally gasping, feeling the biggest sigh of relief that I ever felt in my life. I immediately started hysterically crying and sprinting as fast as I could toward the car, with the guys screaming things at me. I was wearing heels too, and in my attempt to flee, tripped and fell on the concrete. It felt like it took forever for me to be able to get up. I just did not have control over my body. As soon as I got in the car, we were all hysterical crying and feeling extremely grateful that my roommate just so happened to get a bad feeling and wake up in the middle of the night. She very well could have saved my life that day. Who the fuck knows where those guys were going to take me, or what they were going to do to me. I woke up the next day extremely hungover, wearing my jeans inside out with my underwear rolled down and no shirt on. I chalked this up to me being a drunk fool and not being able to dress myself properly, but still pretty alarming to wake up in that state. Lisa and I had to take a bus home that morning, about 4 hours to get to our hometown. The entire time we felt sad and groggy and sick, but we agreed not to talk to anyone about the night before. My friend just quietly looked at me about an hour into the ride and said, "That was not just alcohol that got us like that. Something happened last night." We both cried a little, took a nap, and tried not to think about it. We still don't know what happened. I never saw those guys ever again for my remaining 3 years there, and from then on, we only ever went out in a group of 4 or more.
Hello. For context, I'm a 28-year-old blonde woman, and I look around 18 to 22, or so I'm told. I recently went back to college for human resources, so I was on the train at 1 p.m. on a Monday to get to a 3 p.m. class. The train comes from outside the city, and it's super dead during the day when it's not rush hour. I got on the train, I walked upstairs, but decided to go to the middle area. There's a middle area next to a bathroom because someone was humming and I thought it was annoying. The washroom door was closed the whole time. I didn't think anyone was in there. I was alone on the middle area with no one around me. I was sitting with my jacket off, drinking a tea out of my bunny mug with my backpack across from me. Completely comfortable because the GO train is typically a calm ride. A man pops out of the bathroom after 5 minutes of me sitting there. He is around 22 years old. He has white fine line scars in the shape of a heart and a 3D cube on his head. He puts his hands on my backpack. I assume he's going to try to mug me. I think I'm going to punch him in the throat and run because this isn't my first attempted mugging. My body froze because his first words were, I'm going to kill my father tonight, and I'm going to make you help me. He doesn't want my debit card. He wants to hurt me. I currently work in mental health. I'm used to working with people with homicidal thoughts. I don't scare easily when someone says their voices say to kill me, because I feel like I have all the resources I need and the rapport with my people. I don't know this man. Immediately, I knew this isn't just thoughts or a case of being lonely and talking to random strangers. He's not seeking help from me. I need to leave, but his leg is blocking me in. It sounds like you're going through a lot right now. I'm sorry to hear you are upset with your dad. Tell me more about it. I grab my backpack. I know I look terrified because I just know this isn't good. He says, "No, you are fucking not, because women like you fucking sleep with my fucking dad, you fucking bitch." He gets closer and corners me into the seat. He says he's going to make me help him kill his dad with a knife tonight because he's tired of pretty women like me always ignoring him but fucking with his dad, asking me why I do stuff like that. I feel terrified, and I realize that we are 2 feet away from a washroom, and I am scared he's going to try and make me go in there, and my body is just frozen. His face gets closer to mine. I scream at the top of my lungs, "Help me! Help me! Help!" And honestly, I didn't even recognize my voice. I sounded terrified. 4 random train people came running in. 1 man, 2 young women, and 1 middle-aged woman. One of the men asked me if I'm okay. The guy across from me puts his legs down and is screaming, "Oh, help me, I'm a vain woman. We're all vain and cruel, and I want someone pretty, not like him," as he motions to his scars. I bolt upstairs. I couldn't even talk for a minute. My hands were shaking. I have been in some scary situations before, but I was comfortable with my commute, not on guard like I am at work. One of the other men who came to help me sees that he is mad and still yelling. I honestly don't remember what. He tells me to run towards the customer service train, and he'll make sure that he doesn't follow me. We press the yellow security strip before I get up and go, and the train starts beeping, but there was no security to come. The guy who came to help me found me later when the train stopped and told me that he had strolled off the train like nothing had even happened. However, 2 young girls who came to me had their phones and took a lot of pictures of him walking away and gave them to the police. I walked to the customer service train. The police came, but the man was gone. They talked to me for a few minutes and said that they know who he is because the scars on his face and because he did something similar yesterday, and they think that he might be mentally ill. The police officer didn't seem very interested in talking to me. They asked if I saw his knife. I said no, but it doesn't surprise me because he mentioned a knife, and the way he spoke was the confidence of a man with a weapon. They obviously do not care what I think he could have had. They explained that he slapped another woman on the train, and someone saw he had a knife out at some point. And someone had called the cops before we even pressed the emergency strip, but the customer service train guy didn't even know that. He only knew my story because no one else pressed the security strip and came running to him. I just want to say that someone with mental illness can be homicidal, but it's not a symptom of who they are as a person. It's a sign of how unwell they are at the moment. Not all people with mental illness have homicidal thoughts or are violent at all. I know very kind and wonderful people who have homicidal thoughts when they go through life transitions. These people do not scare me. Maybe this man had mental health issues, but this man scared the hell out of me, so I'm glad that the people came running to me when I called, and the young girls took pictures, because my gut tells me he would have done something if I didn't start screaming. I sincerely hope if he had mental health issues that they took him to a hospital so he's not roaming free. The worst part of this is that I saw a young lady between 18 and 20 years old crying at the train station the next day, and I overheard her saying that she cried and hid in the washroom the entire train ride to the station because a man scared her when she got on the train and she had to call her parents to pick her up. I have no clue if it was the same guy, but I felt like it was possible, and it bothers me that he's bothering other women, but especially young girls who might be too scared to scream. It's been a few months and the police have never contacted me on if they caught him. He never actually touched me, so I guess it wasn't serious enough for them. It made me permanently anxious on my commute, and I never sit alone or take my jacket off anymore. I'm never really comfortable on the train. Scary man with the heart and box scarred on his face. Let's not meet again.